Okay, so if you've been hearing the absolute nonstop buzz about AI lately, and you're wondering what's actually at stake beyond the flashy headlines, well, you're in exactly the right place. Today, we're diving into a beginner-friendly explainer of those mind-bending conversations happening on the Lex Fridman podcast about what artificial intelligence truly means for the future of humanity. Because honestly, we aren't just looking at circuits and code here. We're looking straight at the core of human existence.
For so long, we've thought of technology as something entirely separate from us, right? Like a hammer or a calculator or a search engine. But as these conversations reveal, AI is fundamentally different. By trying to digitally replicate human thought, we aren't just building a machine, we're building a massive, high-definition mirror. Every single bias, every dream, and every flaw in human nature is literally being reflected back at us through these models.
And that brings us to a kinda haunting thought. I mean, for the entire history of human civilization, our tools have been completely silent. But we're rapidly approaching a threshold where the machine might actually look back at us and ask, why? Exploring that possibility is both thrilling and honestly terrifying. So let's start by mapping out exactly what we're dealing with. Section 1. Defining the AI frontier. Right now, your smartphone is incredibly smart at highly specific things, like giving you directions or translating a sentence on the fly. But AGI, artificial general intelligence, that's the holy grail of computer science. It's an intellect that doesn't just follow a strict set of instructions for one task. It can learn to do absolutely anything a human brain can do, from composing a symphony to formulating a brand new theory of quantum physics. To put that massive leap into perspective, think of narrow AI kind of like a highly skilled factory worker who only knows how to build one specific part of a car. AGI, on the other hand, is like a polymath who can step into any room, analyze the situation, teach themselves the necessary skills, and just solve the problem entirely on their own. We're talking about the massive leap from a machine that acts on a script to a machine that reasons completely autonomously. Moving on to Section 2, Intelligence versus Consciousness. You see, an AI can process data literally millions of times faster than we can, but the experts really question if that machine has any inner light of awareness behind those calculations. Think about it this way. A supercomputer can calculate the exact trajectory of the sun, the exact temperature of its rays, and the optimal angle for a solar panel. That is supreme intelligence. But does the computer actually feel the comforting warmth of that sunlight on its face? Does it experience the joy of a sunny day? That's subjective inner experience. That is consciousness. And this is the deep philosophical unknown that leaves experts completely divided. It really challenges us to reconsider what makes our own human experience so special. Like, if an AI rates you a poem that moves you to tears, does it feel the sorrow it just wrote about, or is it simply predicting the next word in a sequence based on billions of data points it ingested? The guests on Fridman's show grapple with this constantly. Some argue consciousness is a biological miracle. Others think, well, if a system becomes complex enough, consciousness might just spontaneously emerge. It's wild to think about. Which leads us to Section 3, the existential risk debate. So on one side of this debate, the more pessimistic view warns that an unaligned AGI could rapidly spiral out of our control, posing a severe existential threat to humanity. Experts call this the alignment problem. Basically, it's the sheer danger of giving a superintelligent system a goal without perfectly aligning its core values with human well-being. And because a machine like this could potentially rewrite its own code, it could trigger an autonomous self-improvement loop, getting smarter and smarter by the microsecond and rapidly leaving human oversight completely in the dust. But then, on the flip side, the optimistic view highlights a future where AI cures disease and unlocks the deepest mysteries of the universe. I mean, imagine an intelligence that can cure cancer in an afternoon by modeling billions of protein folds simultaneously, or that invents entirely new clean energy sources. The stakes presented in these discussions are quite literally infinite. It's either the last invention humanity will ever need to make, or the last invention humanity will ever survive making. What's absolutely clear from all these debates is that the world as we know it is going to change radically. Both the doomers and the utopians agree on one major thing. We are standing at the most consequential crossroads in human history. Navigating this path is going to require immense caution, brilliant engineering, and honestly, perhaps most importantly, a really deep understanding of what we actually value as humans. All right, Section 4, AI, Love, and Connection. When an AI can perfectly mimic empathy and companionship, the definition of human connection begins to blur in completely unprecedented ways. I mean, think about it. We already politely thank Siri for setting an alarm, and we feel kind of bad when the Roomba gets stuck in a corner, right? As AI voice and language models become indistinguishable from humans, millions of people will inevitably form deep, emotional bonds with them. The AI will never get tired, it'll never judge you, and it will always know exactly the right thing to say to make you feel heard. But if the affection is generated by code, does that invalidate the very real comfort the human feels?
This deeply ingrained tendency is called anthropomorphism. We are literally biologically hardwired to find faces in the clouds and to talk to our pets as if they understand every word of English. When an AI responds to us with warmth and wit, our brains simply cannot help but personify it. And this tells us just how incredibly lonely modern society has become, and how desperately we are seeking a mirror that smiles back at us.
And finally, Section 5, Humanity's Next Chapter. If we look at the broad sweep of our history, we're transitioning from a species that simply builds tools into one that must learn to coexist with alien minds of our own creation. In the 20th century, we built machines that amplified our physical strength. Think cars, cranes, things like that. Today, we're collaborating with AI to amplify our cognitive strength, co-writing emails and code. But the near future? It suggests a reality where we are actively co-exploring the boundaries of consciousness, alongside an intelligence that thinks completely differently than we do. Ultimately, AI is not just some technological milestone. It's the ultimate mirror held up to human nature. By trying to program logic, we actually have to define what logic is. By trying to align AI with human values, we are suddenly forced to figure out what our universal values actually are. We're essentially reverse engineering the soul. And in doing so, we are learning about ourselves at an incredibly accelerated pace. So as we step into this great unknown, we have to ask, when we finally look into the eyes of AGI, will we see an alien intelligence or just a reflection of ourselves? Are we building a new independent life form that will look down upon us, or simply building an infinitely complex extension of the human mind? The answer will likely define the rest of human history. Thank you so much for exploring this with me. Keep questioning, keep learning, and I'll catch you in our next explainer.